As I drive down an Iowa highway, I see a lot of farmland with houses, barns, and sheds. Some of these houses are new, being remodeled, aging, or deteriorating. Unfortunately, I see more decaying farms houses than I do the others. I always wonder about the story behind these houses. Why did a family leave? Or why didn't anyone try to sell it? Merle Vogt, aka my grandfather, owns a property that someone could ask those two questions about. There's a lot of history on his old farm, but he wasn't the only one in the family to own it. My great-grandfather owned it before he did. 2 years before my grandpa bought the farm, he ended up leaving for the Korean War while my grandmother lived there with his parents. When he came back, he had no place to go, so he bought the property from his parents. This old farm has been home to him his whole life, but he's not the only one who has called this home. My mother once did. And while I was working on the photography, she shared many stories about her childhood. It was amazing for me to realize the history of this house. I have several memories here too, most of them the same. All my cousins and I would play softball in the yard, and we knew we were done with the game when we had to go look for the balls in the creek. The little teeter-totter we used to play on is now in a bush, and the playroom was in the back porch where we had books, toys, and gadgets. One thing I found exciting about this project was when I was able to go inside the house. I went upstairs, and as kids we were never allowed to go there because Grandma would always tell us there was nothing to see. As I walked upstairs, I was able to see my uncle's bedroom with his old closet full of books. Old encyclopedias, Western books, and much, much more. Then my mom took me to her room where she shared with her two younger sisters. This is when my mom said that the three of them slept in a double bed together, my mother being in the middle, of course. This project has brought back lots of memories, but I can't forget the reason why I wanted to do it. The one question I ask myself every time I pass an abandoned farm: why did the family leave? This question is bittersweet for this property. In the fall of 2010, my grandparents moved to town not far from the farm where my grandpa could go out every day and deal with cattle. However, little did my family know, my grandma was getting sick and she would live until December 2011. My grandpa is in his 80s and happy living in town. I asked him what his hopes for the future of the property is, and this is what he told me.
I have no idea. It's up to my kids to decide what's going to do to it because I have not really made any suggestions or plans for it because I don't want to dictate anything after I'm gone.
Fortunately, this is probably a similar answer to the farmhouses that are now abandoned. As the world keeps moving, there will be more houses being abandoned, and we will never know their stories.